Hello, everybody. Happy New Year and welcome back to the GAMRs podcast. I'm your host, Justin. Want to wish you guys a happy New Year. Hope you guys had a happy holiday. With me, I have Lawrence.
Hey everybody, Happy New Year.
I have Michelle.
Hey.
And I also have Ryden with us.
Hey, Happy New Year.
First show of the new year, and we have the full cast. Yes!
Hey!
Huzzah.
Which means next show we're probably only going to have Lawrence and Ryden. So. No, it's good to be back. It's been a pretty eventful past couple of weeks. If you've been keeping up with us on Twitter and Tumblr, Ryden announced that he's going to be doing more live streaming. So every Wednesday, the schedule's out on our Tumblr, but he'll be playing something new. It'll be up on the Twitch channel, and there may be a special guest or two from some of us here. We may pop in as well. So it's going to be a lot of fun. I'm looking forward to it.
I'm looking forward to it. So, I've got plenty of new titles which are being released February and March. So
yeah,
they'll be featuring. I'm quite excited to be playing those live.
Not gonna lie, I saw Titanfall on the list, and I just started doing the Birdman hand rub. I was like, yes.
Well, I mean, I did stay. I mean, I didn't get next gen console during the Christmas period, and I'm not sure exactly when I'm going to be getting one yet. So Titanfall for now, I've got it pre-ordered for the Xbox 360, which I'm sure is still a good version of the game.
Right.
It should be, good fun to play. I enjoyed playing the demo. That should be awesome to play. What else have I got? I've got Yaiba, Ninja Gaiden Z, which comes out in February, and for you guys, I think first week in March.
Right. Yes.
I'll have the new Atelier game, Escher and Logi. I'll also have The Witch and the Hundred Knight from NAS America. Titanfall. I think that's it for the new ones. Off the top of my head.
From what I saw off your list, you also had Lightning Returns on your.
Oh yeah,
list.
Lightning Returns. Yeah, because that
big.
comes out. Yes, yeah. I put that on the list as well. I thought I've got it pre-ordered. I may not have finished the previous two, but I'm gonna jump in, show people what the game's like, and obviously give my initial reaction as I'm playing too. So that should be good fun.
That's fair enough. So what was? Because I have not touched 13 at all, and I feel like that's something I need to do.
Now, Michelle is probably the 13 expert,
right.
I think.
That was my next question. So how does 13 sort of stack up with the other two, and how has it been received so far?
13. I'd say if you like 10, you probably would like 13 because it's similar sort of linear storyplay. Lightning Returns, though, from what I've seen on Tumblr, people are liking it.
Okay.
But I spoiled myself for the ending of Lightning Returns, and
Oh.
it's like
Your
it's
lapse
like
is everything.
It's like I honestly don't know if it's better or worse than the ending for 13-2. But yeah, I want some of the drugs Square are taking, cause damn.
Well, hold on.
But I want to know, is that going to be? I mean, I haven't actually looked at what the ending is, but I wonder if that's actually going to be the ending, or whether they've got something DLC planned later just to expand it to actually finish the game.
Oh no, definitely the way they have it in the game, I don't think there would be any sort of story DLC after that, unless it's set during the game.
Oh, okay.
Wow. Well.
Wow.
When does 13? When does 13 drop, or Lightning Returns drop? Because I will just be monitoring the internet for outrage. Be like, all right.
It's middle of February, I think, isn't it?
I posted up the date earlier today. I am just digging it out.
I got it right here. Lightning Returns Final Fantasy XIII launches in North America on February the 11th and in Europe, February the 14th.
14th. Yeah, Valentine's Day.
Happy Valentine's.
Spend Valentine's Day with Lightning.
See,
Oh dear.
that's what you do.
Actually, I think I'm spending Valentine's Day with Toikoden, because that also comes out on the 14th of February.
And I'm definitely getting that. Like it at this point, I just need to send Tecmo Koei a direct deposit like every month, because they have Yaiba coming out, Toikoden's coming out, and they both just look amazing.
Yeah.
And there's Samurai Warriors 4 coming out as well.
Yeah.
Why do you have to tell me these things?
Well, then you've also got. I mean, you guys have got PlayStation 4, right?
I don't have it yet.
Oh, you don't? Okay. Because then there's also the complete edition of Dynasty Warriors 8 Plus XL, which is going to be on the PlayStation 4 as well.
And the Vita. I'm getting that for the Vita.
Yes, yep, the Vita as well. And if it plays anything like Next on the Vita,
and that's
it should be looking pretty sweet.
That's what I'm looking forward to, because Next was very smooth on the Vita.
Yeah.
Dynasty Warriors, the first one on PSP it just felt clunky. But
I'm with you there, and the pop-up was terrible.
Yes. However, on the Vita for Next, it plays like a console, or it's a lot more smooth. It's streamlined. The controls aren't forced, and maybe it's also because the Vita can do more than the PSP could, because you can only load one area at a time on the PSP.
Yep.
Vita, it's the whole field. So.
Yep. Yeah, I'm looking forward to that. I'll probably end up buying both the console version and the Vita version. I mean, I like the Vita version because I can just take it wherever I go.
Right.
I mean, it's not just Tecmo Koei that got loads of Vita games coming out. I mean, we've got NAS America who've got a load coming out as well.
Yes.
So if you're into if you're into Japanese games, Japanese RPGs and hack and slash and things like that, then just this first quarter of the year is an absolute dream on the Vita.
Which means it's a nightmare on your wallets.
Yes. I looked at what I pre-ordered, for doing the game night thing, and February and March are going to cost me a fortune, but it's still going to be worth it.
Oh, definitely. And I guess as we're talking about that, over the break, I saw one thing that really, and I guess before I get too in depth, Michelle, have you beaten Persona 4 yet?
Yes, I have.
Okay, so I can talk about it because I
saw her live tweets.
Because I just happened to catch it. Like, I woke up one morning, I just happened to catch a tweet of hers. I'm like, I know exactly where she is. She's at the hospital right now. You have to tweet everything from this point on. Because I love seeing people's shock when they get to the hospital scene in Persona 4. And spoiler alert for Persona 4 right now. This is your spoiler alert. The hospital scene where your adorable little sister Nanako gets kidnapped and can possibly die depending on what you do. To the revelation of who the killer is. It's all. I love how that game wrapped all of that up in those sort of moments there. And especially in Persona 4 the animation, the way they just capture confronting the first killer. So, which means I have to ask, did you figure out who the killer was, or were you already spoiled and you knew who it was?
No, I kind of had to work out myself, and I was like, what?
So hold on, did you work it out?
Yeah, I wasn't expecting it at all.
See,
I mean, I kind of knew there was something shady about him with all the sort of, the hints he was kind of dropping about all the police work.
Right.
But I didn't expect it to.
Again,
happen.
Right. Spoiler alert again. If you are playing Persona 4 the Golden and you do not want to be spoiled on the identity of the killers, skip ahead about 20-30 minutes. No, because when I was first watching it, it didn't click that it was Adachi until you have this conversation with Naoto, and it's like, yeah, you know, it had to have been someone that could just easily walk up to Nanako that Nanako wouldn't, that she's used to seeing. And I was like, oh god.
Yeah, it's like the whole thing about them being invisible, so they wouldn't be stopped by sort of neighbors and stuff like that as well.
It's like all the times he came over to the house, all the times he had dinner with you. It's, oh. Yeah, Adachi's a dick. So, and then
Then he just turns around and says, "Oh, I just did it because they turned me down, and then it was just for fun." And they're like, you sick bastard.
Like, right, first it's, well, you know, I came on to this girl and she wasn't giving it up, so I pushed her in the TV. Then when I realized they were dying, I was like, that's kind of fun. You can keep this up, right? His whole motivation essentially comes down to, meh, I could. And I love how everybody calls him out on it right before that boss battle. Yosuke gets the best one. We're just like, you're just a criminal. No, you're not favored by the world or anything. And then I forget who it is that says, yeah, you're kind of just having a temper tantrum right now. It's really immature for someone your age. So, you know, it's moments like that and the build up to it that's why I continue to rank Persona 4 in all of its incarnations in like the top of my RPG list, especially for anything 2000 afterwards. It's up there. So, you figured out it was Adachi. Which ending did you get?
I just went for the I think it's the true ending, where it's like basically you have the fight with Adachi, and then you get the skip forward to March, where you have to fight Izanami.
Okay.
But I'm playing it again, so I'll probably try to get like the bad ending where you help Adachi, or try to get the true ending with the epilogue.
Right, because I was saying there's 6 endings in Persona 4 The Golden. There's worst, bad, good, true, and golden. Oh, and normal. So, yes, and there's the help Adachi or the burn the evidence route. Where you literally just set fire to the evidence and Adachi's like, you're pretty stupid, aren't you? But no, that's what the ending is. It's around the part where you figure out that Adachi is the killer, and depending on how you've interacted with him, you can either help him out and burn the evidence that incriminates him, or you can confront him and be like, hey, dude, not cool, and then that's where you progress through the normal story. But if you burn the evidence, the ending you get is pretty sad, because no one comes to see you off. You just see Adachi laughing, and then your character's like, oh, maybe I shouldn't have helped the mass murderer get away with it.
So Michelle, even knowing the game's an absolute huge title, you're diving straight back into it again. Are you going back in from the beginning?
Yeah, pretty much. I've just like restarted it, so.
Cool.
I've also got Final Fantasy X HD on the go, so that'll keep me busy, I think.
Yeah. Oh, so that arrived.
Yes.
And does it look gorgeous?
Yeah, it's like I've actually got both versions, the PS3 and the Vita, and it looks really good on both, I'd have to say.
Oh wow! I had my doubts on how it would look on the Vita, but that's good to hear.
And it didn't quite look as I was expecting during the demo period when they were showing it off around. But apparently they have improved it and they've touched it up quite a bit since then. So I'm hoping for good things when it does get released here on a proper localized version.
Right. I guess we really have to give Square Enix props. They're kind of got the HD re-release game down right now. The Kingdom Hearts HD re-releases look amazing and they play amazing. We just heard Final Fantasy X looks pretty damn good. So.
Plus, it's like I know a lot of people have sort of been complaining about the fact that they remastered the soundtrack as well, but for the most part, the songs I've heard so far sound pretty good.
Yeah, I think people. I think there's a lot of people complaining about nothing really. I'm sure a fresh sound, and I'm sure they've improved the sound as well. Because of technology improvements and everything else, they've made made it sound better as well as remixing the soundtracks. So I think people just make a fuss because they can.
So did they add new tracks or did they just remaster what was already there?
They just remastered what was there. It's like some of the tracks like To Xanarkand have barely been touched, but then you've got others like the main sort of battle music that sounds pretty noticeably different.
Okay, fair enough.
Oh, have you guys heard about the whole thing with the audio drama?
For 13?
For 10.
Oh, I have.
Okay, you'll have to enlighten me on this one.
You have to enlighten me too.
I've heard about
It's-
this.
I can tell by
basically-
Lawrence's expression that it's going to be priceless.
Basically, including in the HD set, it's an audio drama that takes place, I think it's about 6 months after the events of Final Fantasy 10-2.
Mm-hmm.
Basically, it shits all over any sort of continuity.
And Michelle, there is even worse is that they made the audio drama and they made a handwritten novel in Japan that takes place after 10-2 that's before the audio novel or before the audio drama, and that destroys continuity even further.
Is it who is complaining?
Anyways?
Do you mind spoilers for this or not? Because this is
No, I mean it was a little while before it releases over here, so
well,
Okay,
spoilers. This is like the spoiler episode, isn't it?
Oh yeah.
we're spoiling you guys.
So a little spoiler warning for Final Fantasy 10-2 and the audio drama that's included in the HD remaster. If you don't want to hear anything about this, then skip ahead another, I guess, 10-15 minutes.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, first of all, in the audio drama, Sin is brought back. It's summoned, activated
Wait,
somehow.
what?
Even though that makes no sense.
Okay.
Wait, what?
See, I think I remember how this happened. Let me try to see if I can dig it up for you, because this was explained in here we go. I found it. It's explained in a novel sequel that was written by Kazushige Nojima, the original scenario writer for FF10, named Final Fantasy X 2.5 Ian no Daisho. And basically, the story about how Sin got revived is, let's see, Tidus winds up dying
What?
in between FF10-2 and this audio novel.
Okay.
And Yuna is able to call him back from the far plane. But Tidus isn't like his normal self after his dying and then being brought back from the far plane. And because of Tidus's revival, the far plane grows unstable, and the dead are being beckoned and brought back to Spira, which includes Sin. So because of all of this going on, Sin gets brought back.
Because that makes sense.
But the whole thing with Sin was it was the summoner and their guardian that became the final Aeon, right? You'd have to have the faith dreaming to have the Aeons. So, well, I can't. This makes
Michelle's,
no
I
sense.
can hear Michelle's head about to explode.
Ah!
I mean, like,
Michelle's like, I've lost the ability to can.
to clarify everything about the timing and everything, Final Fantasy X 2.5 Ain no Daisho takes place several months after Final Fantasy X-2. Final Fantasy X Will is the audio drama that takes place in the Final Fantasy HD remaster for 10-2. And it's 1 year after the events of 10-2 and several months after the events of Ain no Daisho. So it goes Final Fantasy X, 10-2, 2.5, and Final Fantasy X Will. All in that order, to give a timeline of the events.
Alright.
And yeah, and Final Fantasy X will takes place, like I said, a few months after the events of Ain no Daisho, and it assumes you've read the novel, which is silly because the novel only got released in Japan December 26th. So it's assuming that you read the novel, and it just kind of goes into, oh yeah, Sin is back. Yeah. I think that's one of the flaws in them doing the audio drama along with it. Not to mention the fact that this is all hinting at a Final Fantasy X-3. So they're going to revisit the Final Fantasy X storyline with a X-3.
Yeah, because that was something which they were mentioning recently about they were looking into doing a 10-3.
Yeah, it seems like with this one, they're kind of leaning toward it more, because now it's like they set the story up for it. They brought back Sin. Tidus and Yuna are like completely... I believe they said that they're separated again because of all this.
Because Tidus is injured, so Yuna breaks up with him to protect him from stuff happening.
It's what they always say.
Okay.
Yeah, you know, it's for your own protection and stuff.
Yeah, I'm not seeing the other guy. It's just for your protection.
Unfortunate implications.
And then it gets even better because she does it by claiming she's jealous of him talking to this other girl, because apparently Tidus is back doing Blitzball, he's like a huge star and all this. So she's saying she's jealous of him, and that's how they break up.
Yay! I don't know. It's like we've built this character, we've characterized her in a certain way. Now let's undermine all of that in about a paragraph.
Yeah, I don't know.
Then it's like one of the new characters introduced in the audio drama claims to be Oren's daughter.
Yes, her name is, I think, Chuami. Yep, she claims to be Oren's daughter. 17 years old, apparently.
But that would mean... Okay.
Yeah.
A little bit of necrophilia never hurt anybody, I guess.
Yeah.
Oh, so...
Well, she claims to be Oren's, I think, long-lost daughter, according to the wording I'm reading here from the wiki. So, yeah, I don't know where they're going with this. I mean, some of the story implications are cool, and other implications are kind of, unneeded. Like, the thing with Yuna and Tidus feels off. Go ahead.
But then apparently, Lulu's talking to her, and she says she doesn't look anything like Oren. Like, how obviously Tidus looks a bit like Jacked and, Yuna with Braska, and apparently she looks nothing like Oren, so I don't know what's the point of bringing that up to begin with.
An excuse to introduce Oren back into the storyline?
Well, from what I'm reading here, it's also stated that many people claim to be children of either Oren, Jacked, and Braska. And Chuemi says that she takes after her mother, but Lulu states that Oren is the type of person who would have mentioned having children.
Not fair enough.
So now that's going to lead to a little bit of added drama to that.
She could also, be lying, but
Yeah.
It's stuff like this that I'm halfway glad that Square doesn't revisit FF7 any more than they have.
Yeah.
Because I'm afraid if they did an HD remake for FF7, how much further would they screw with the canon?
I think they would play it because they've said it themselves. There's a lot that they would change.
Yeah, see, I don't want them to change stuff.
Yeah. They've said it themselves. If they touched it, there's a lot that they would change. As well as the fact that it would take forever to do.
Well, yeah, that too. Cloud and Sephiroth are brothers! Dun dun dun!
Yeah, for me with Final Fantasy VII, I think I'd be more worried about the direction they'd maybe take the gameplay enhancements more than anything. Because in this day and age, I don't know if a turn-based system would be as well received as it was back then when FF7 came out. And they would have to retool the gameplay toward a faster paced style in order to keep up with the advancements of JRPGs of the current age, like something like a Tales of or even Kingdom Hearts did away with turn based.
Yeah,
So
but Nino Kuni.
yeah, but
Yep,
yeah,
and that was awesome. If you ever had the pleasure of playing Lost Odyssey, that was brilliant. That was the probably the last Final Fantasy game that was really awesome.
Right, so I wouldn't say turn-based is dead, and I do think there's a market for it. Just be honest about it, and don't try to. If you're gonna be a turn-based, be a turn-based. Don't try to be an action turn-based, like what White Knight Chronicles tried to do was they said, yeah, we're action, but at its core, it's just an active time-based system where you can run around. But it's still just an active time-based system. There's missing in combat is based on the same parameters that missing in a turn-based system is. Like if I slash at someone, if I'm going to hit them, I'm going to hit them. It doesn't matter if I'm close enough or in range, or if I actually miss the slash, I'm going to hit them. So.
right.
Although it was nice how they sort of let you chain different moves together in White Knight Chronicles. I have a love-hate relationship with White Knight Chronicles.
I've never played it, so I can't say.
Yeah, me neither.
I've been interested in White Knight Chronicles, but I never picked it up.
Single player, the first one, the story's kind of cliched and done, but the gameplay is fun.
Mm-hmm.
But grinding for some of the higher level items, they treat it like an MMO, which means lots and lots of grinding, and that gets old very quickly. Very quickly, that gets old. Because you end up doing the same one or two raids over and over again, and there's no fun in that.
Yeah, that makes sense.
So.
My only other I guess you can say worry about if they ever retouch Final Fantasy VII. It's a worry, but I also have that as like the one excuse they would have to go back to FF7 to give it another sequel. Genesis.
Ah, crap.
I mean, I haven't played Dirge of Cerberus, but I've seen the gameplay, I've seen the cutscenes, I followed along with the story of Dirge of Cerberus. I know enough of it to know Genesis is still out there.
Yeah, and
he somehow survived Crisis Core.
And they would bring him up, so it's like Sephiroth and Genesis. Which long-sworded pretty boy will you fight next?
But Genesis has short hair.
They would give him long hair, and you know that.
just to counteract Sephiroth.
Because time has passed.
Just to mess with your head.
Well, no, because oh god, I forgot the name of it. The prequel to FF7 for PSP.
Crisis Core.
Yes,
before Crisis. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, Crisis Core. When Genesis shows up, I'm like, wow, you're Sephiroth, except minus the angst.
Well, yeah, but even then, Sephiroth was minus the angst before, a certain incident in Crisis Core.
Well, yeah.
It wasn't like Genesis was Sephiroth minus the angst. Genesis was Sephiroth plus an ego minus the angst.
That's what it is, the ego part. And
yeah, Sephiroth had an ego, but it was like, yeah, I have this ego because I know I'm better than you.
Yeah, I went back and replayed 7. I just got it for PSP and I just was playing it on and off. It made me remember how much I disliked Sephiroth. Not from a story perspective, but just as a character. He's boring. Like, he's very, very, in my opinion, Sephiroth is a very boring character. He's not even the most intriguing villain of FF7.
See, I don't know what to take of that, to be honest, with Sephiroth. because a lot of it to me was Sephiroth may have had to do with the time. Because now, obviously, we've not only we've seen Sephiroth, we know what he's done. It's not as fresh in anyone's mind as it was back then. But also the advancements of plot progression and villains from 1996 to where we're at now.
Right, but even given that, there's a way more compelling villain in that game, who's responsible for way more atrocities than Sephiroth ever was. Because if you look at Hojo.
Joe? Yeah, okay.
Yeah, every single thing that goes wrong in FF7 is a direct result of something Hojo did.
See, I like him. He's completely mental.
Yes, and he's willing to ruin the world just to see how far his experiments can go.
He is the Joker of the Final Fantasy world.
No, he's not even Joker.
Not quite.
He clearly has a plan.
He's insane.
His plan is, I want to watch the world burn. Joker is, if the world burns, so be it.
Yeah.
So, yeah, because Hojo tortured and experimented on Ares' mom. He scarred for life Vincent and Zack and Cloud. And then when it's revealed that Sephiroth is trying to end the world, it's like, yes, something I made is doing this. Let's see how far this goes. And he's just so unrepentant throughout the entire game. He treats you as an annoyance, like, yo, what are you doing? This is clearly my magnum opus here. Why are you getting in the way of my greatness?
I honestly think a part of what may have hurt Sephiroth in that regard as a villain is how inconsistent his portrayal is.
Well, see, No, go.
Mm-hmm. Oh, I was about to say, and I mean that when comparing his Crisis Core self to his FF7 self, because Crisis Core leads into the events covered in FF7's flashbacks.
Right.
But the way Sephiroth is portrayed is he's a regular swordsman in FF7. In Crisis Core, he's teleporting. I mean, we went from regular Sephiroth being a swordsman to regular Sephiroth being Kingdom Hearts Sephiroth in Crisis Core. And then in FF7, we go from that to him being this monster. With the Seraph Sephiroth as the end fight.
Right.
So I think that kind of made the Sephiroth character, I guess, weakened a bit. Instead of him being just this guy who was able to hold you off with just sword skills, he just became this monster by the end of it. And at the time, it was just absolutely mind-blowing to an extent that, okay, now we get to finally put Sephiroth down. But as time went on, it's more of a, so Sephiroth became this. I like it, but did he really need to be this when he can summon meteors himself?
Right.
I think that's what may have hurt Sephiroth a little bit.
And not only that, outside of screwing with Cloud, for the sole express purpose of screwing with Cloud, what does he do?
Wasn't most of his purpose supposedly guided by Genova?
Right, which is Hojo.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I know most people have that memory fresh in their mind, Sephiroth killing Ares, and like, oh my god. And maybe it's because I'm older and the surprise of that is worn off. And maybe like you said, maybe I just expect better villains now. Because we look at some of the villains that came out just this past year with some of their portrayals. I think I could put together a top 5 list and leave Sephiroth out of it for just villains.
Yeah, I could see that. I had to talk about this with a friend recently, and he even said that now, if you just take Sephiroth as he is, he's kind of boring as a villain.
Yeah, I mean, he's unabashedly badass, but beyond that, it's just like...
Yeah, there's really nothing to really grasp at him as a mastermind, as a villain behind FF7.
Right.
Other than, like you said, the express purpose of I'm screwing with Cloud.
Right.
It's yeah, I can honestly see that. And also, like you said, the thing with Aerith, outside of the first time it happens, I don't think it has nearly the impact.
Now, I will say...
the first time it happens, it's completely, out of left field, mind shattering.
Yes.
Afterwards, it's like you're braced for it. You know what's going to happen. Out of instinct, you're preparing Aerith for that event happening, because now you're making sure your good stuff isn't on Aerith when that happens.
Oh,
so
man.
You're prepared for when it happens. So your mind's already braced for the event.
That was heartbreaking, because she was my medic. I had given her all my best stuff, and she dies. I'm like...
Yeah. See what I mean?
Oh, man.
Like, your first time, you're like, oh, she's gonna get all my best stuff. She's gonna have this. She's gonna have that. We're gonna go in it. Oh, wow. What? She's dead?
Now, I will say, if Kingdom Hearts 3 kills her off... Oh, man.
I don't think Kingdom Hearts 3 is gonna try to relive that. I personally don't think so.
I don't think they will, but they have a perfect excuse to do it, because they have all the players assembled, and they sort of hint at something in 2. With the
They hint at something in 2, but the way they treat Sephiroth and Cloud in Kingdom Hearts is way different than their FF version.
They just treat them as they're having their own story, and Sora comes across them every now and then.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, because their first one was their first encounter was not even in the US version originally. It was in Japan. Now it's in the HD version in the final mix build of Kingdom Hearts 1. Of Cloud and Sephiroth meeting in the first
Colosseum,
game. Yeah, in the Colosseum. And that's just treated as just, hey, you and I hate each other, let's fight. There's no story not even any backstory given to Cloud and Sephiroth meeting in the Colosseum. In Part 2, there's hints and drops of backstory from Cloud, Sephiroth, and even Tifa. Of those two. And even Squall or Leon in Kingdom Hearts 2.
Right.
Although I will say Sephiroth's debut in Kingdom Hearts 2 was well done.
And Kingdom Hearts 2, that's George Newbern, right?
Yes.
Yep.
Kingdom Hearts 1 was Lance Bass.
Right.
But we don't talk about that.
Actually, I was actually okay with it.
I will say he didn't sound bad.
But is it just because does George Newbern do like a perfect, subtly evil voice? Because every incarnation of Superman I've seen that has a hint of evil, they get George Newbern for it.
Yeah, I was about to say, it's weird because he does Superman as well. So he's going from Superman to Sephiroth.
The Justice Lord Superman, which is just Superman from Injustice. Since Justice Lords came first, they're copying that, but whatever. The Superman that takes over the world. George Newbern. And it works, because you hear Truth, Justice, in the American Way being a complete oppressive asshole. And it works. So. And then, if you haven't seen it yet, it's on Netflix now. Superman versus the Elite.
Yeah, I have not seen it.
Go see that. That and All-Star Superman. There's no excuse. If you are a comic book fan and love Superman, go see All-Star Superman. Go see Superman versus the Elite. They're on Netflix. You will not regret it.
I have Superman versus the Elite ready to be watched, actually.
Oh man. So when you watch it, maybe we can work out you doing a live tweet or something while you watch it. Because
I'll try.
That's actually one of my favorite representations of Superman, because they actually confront him with the question of, hey, Superman, you're so powerful, why don't you actually end some of these problems? Sort of like someone finally asked Batman the question, why haven't you killed Joker yet?
I recently watched what's it called? Dark Knight.
Dark Knight Returns.
Yes.
Yes.
And I just finished watching that the other night.
Parts 1 and 2?
My God. Yes.
Oh man, that's
my God. Number 2.
Oh man.
He pushes him to the limits.
That, if you ever wanted to see an old Batman, like not Batman beyond old Batman, but like old Bruce trying to still be Batman. Oh, you have to see. That was Frank Miller, right?
I can't remember who. Yeah, I think it was.
Yeah, it was Frank.
Yeah, I think it was.
So that's greatness.
That was a very good representation of the two characters. At
Yes.
the very last episode, it's just it's just insane.
And this I won't spoil for anyone because it has to be seen in all of its glory. But there's an infamous scene in both the comic and they recreate it very well in the movie of Batman and his arch nemesis in the Tunnel of Love, and it is
Oh my, yes.
all
Yes.
you do is just watch it stunned silent.
I was really, really shocked at that scene.
Oh man.
Because, I hadn't read it, so that was my first experience of that scene, and yeah, that had me getting quite, it was quite shocking. I wasn't, because of the whole thing that you kind of come to expect. That was not it.
Right. And then just how it ends. It's good stuff. You should go see it.
Yeah.
Sort of pivoting.
And even the relationship with Superman.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. It irks me when people say Superman is boring. Because that means it's either someone lazy writing him or it's someone that only knows him as just this flying brick. Because Superman is a very complex character. Like, there's a lot going on with Supes. And, like, one of my favorite moments, I think I've said this on the show before, that captures that is at the end of Justice League Unlimited, the show, where he's battling Darkseid. And Darkseid is sort of mocking Batman, like, hey, you're immortal, what are you going to do against me? It's hopeless. And then Superman says, hey, he won't quit as long as he can still draw breath. But I've kind of got a different issue. I feel like I live in a world made of cardboard. And he just says, like, I have to be so careful not to break something or someone because I have all this power and the slightest misstep from me can cause death, destruction, and I don't want that. But then he tells Darkseid, you're an adult. Like, I'm an adult living in a world of children, so I have to be careful. But you're another adult. So we're going to settle this like adults. And I don't know why. Well, you guys have seen Man of Steel, or at least heard the ending for Man of Steel.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I don't get why people had a problem with the ending, because I feel like that's something Superman would do. Zod is another adult. Not only would he do it, he would do it with extreme prejudice and very quickly. Because at that point you realize he cannot be reasoned with. He's going to keep coming back. You have to put him down. You have to. It's not that Superman is above killing. He just doesn't want to kill people he doesn't want to kill children, essentially.
I haven't seen it, so I can't speak on this.
Oh, sorry.
I still have
Spoilers.
No. I've already seen the spoiler of that because there was no avoiding it.
I mean, I feel that there may have been a bit too much destruction, but at the same time, there's he's kind of doing everything he can to protect. At the same time as there's this huge battle, this super powered battle going on between two people,
right.
As you say, adults.
Right. That the destruction is a directorial choice, and that's sort of like another issue. But the core of, oh my God, Superman killed someone. Superman and Wonder Woman are not above killing people. Wonder Woman may be a little more liberal in her application of this law.
Well, again, you saw The Dark Knight Returns.
Yes. So.
Yeah.
Oh man. And we're finally getting, she's appearing in a movie, so that's a good first step. I'm hoping we actually get a full-fledged Wonder Woman movie at some point.
I'm really hoping for that too. It'll be good to have a good Wonder Woman movie.
Yeah, and it's not like it's hard to make a good Wonder Woman movie.
No.
And I think we said
she's a great character.
Yeah, when we had Danielle on the show, I think we touched on this. It's not hard to make a good Wonder Woman movie. She is a very complex character that you can build great stories around. As long as you just sort of ignore her origin or give her an origin that isn't silly and rooted in Greek mythology. That's really the only problem with the Wonder Woman story, right? Her origin is just so convoluted. It's like, so what are you again? You're clay, but not? And what?
Although saying that, I quite liked the take on the origin with the Wonder Woman animated film.
Oh yeah, well they just say, here's this island, Themyscira, here's one.
Yeah.
Boom.
Yeah, it's like, you know, they touch on it, but they don't go. It's not stupidly over the top.
Right.
It's a violent intro, but it's not stupidly over the top.
Right.
And it really gets straight into the character, and then bam, here you go. Here's your Wonder Woman. Do your thing.
So, and then they sort of make Wonder Woman the focus of the new Justice League War. All the promotional material I've seen, they sort of put Wonder Woman up front. So I'm wondering if this is a move by DC to say, hey, look, Wonder Woman.
Yeah, possibly.
Which, I'm all for. I think one of my favorite Wonder Woman moments, it's I forget what exactly the arc is, but someone has telepathically taken control of Superman. And they're trying to find out all these ways to disarm Superman, and Wonder Woman's like, wait, you're the guy controlling him, right? Well, yeah, and she just breaks his neck. It's like, all right, problem solved. Next. And then Batman's like, why did you kill him? It's like, if this were a monster or an alien and I did it, you guys wouldn't care. It's just another monster, in my opinion.
Yeah, see, for her, she's definitely one who could kill.
Yeah, like
I think it's just kind of in the nature of her background.
Yeah, she's a soldier. Like she's kind of like Captain America. She won't kill like petty criminals and stuff, but if you pose a significant enough threat, she'll take you down in a heartbeat, and not feel sorry about it. So that's why who was doing the last one on Justice League? I completely forgot who was in the last one on Justice League. But they sort of played on that dynamic with Batman and Wonder Woman. Sort of Batman saying, hey, we can't just go around killing whoever we want. And Wonder Woman essentially says, well, I'm not killing whoever we want. I'm killing monsters. These are monsters I'm putting down. It's not like they're people. So it's just an interesting dynamic that the two have. Sort of just pivoting back to FF7, it looks like the closest thing that we would ever get to, I guess, a re-release, or what'll have to hold us over, is possibly playing it on PlayStation Now, which was announced
possibly,
which was announced at CES over the past couple days. And this was what we had thought was going to happen when they acquired Gaikai.
Yeah. I remember we were discussing it on the podcast like ages ago. As soon as we, I think it was pretty much about the time when they were announcing the PS4 and the Xbox One consoles, and they were saying about the fact that the console wasn't backwards compatible, but you were going to be able to access the whole library of games from all the PlayStation generations, and obviously they had acquired the Gaikai system, so it was all going to be through this system, which is a streaming system, and it's come about this exactly like I was expecting.
PlayStation Now, coming soon.
Which is very much like On Live. Remember On Live?
Yes, I do.
The thing that didn't really kick off.
And On Live. Why didn't On Live catch on?
Right. I think the big problem. I tried it myself. One of the big problems is the fact that you're streaming the game, so you're not running it on a local machine.
Right.
Sometimes the inputs on your controller are not directly in time with what happens on your screen, so you get a bit of time lag between your inputs and the action. Also, you have to kind of rely on the fact that you need a good internet speed to be able to stream it and run it smoothly. At the time, I wasn't using high-speed internet. I was using broadband, but it wasn't high-speed broadband. And now I've got an improved network, so it should run a lot smoother for me now. But at the time, and like most other people actually, I was running on minimal speeds for internet, and it just wasn't running smoothly. I was getting screen freezes, and you know, like when you watch a stream movie or something, and your internet connection starts failing,
Right.
and you end up with grains and pixels all over the screen, and you can't really see what's going on. That's what I was getting with on live at the time, and it was making things completely unplayable. I'm just I'm hoping with this they've got a better system in place, better servers for running things faster and being able to translate the information faster onto your screens. And obviously you're going to have to I think they said you need at least 5 megabytes per second, which is pretty small, to run the games on there. But I don't know whether or not that's the minimal for a small PlayStation 1 game, and you'd need a lot more to play some of the PlayStation 3 titles. So
I guess my only concern would be, like you said, the streaming part and the quality of the game you get as you're playing. But other than that, I'm excited about this, and I did not expect them to extend this service to the PS3, the Vita, smart TVs. I'm wondering what it has to be sort of a limited capability for anything that's not a main console.
I'm not exactly sure how it's going to work when it comes to things like smartphones and tablets and stuff, because they use touchscreen interfaces. So I don't really know how you can configure it to work with buttons, whether or not you download the app, which will then I don't know if you've seen the recent Tomb Raider game.
Yes.
That's been released on iOS. The controls are a bit fiddly and stuff, especially on a phone. But if they've got something like that with this, or even Grand Theft Auto, where they automatically set a controller on your touchscreen pad, and then that's what you're going to be using to control the game. But I mean, I can't really see myself playing a PlayStation 3 game on a tablet or something like that. It just won't feel right.
Right. Now, depending on how well this system works, this may be what pushes a lot of people over the edge on getting the PS4.
But I don't. I mean, at the same time, because initially they're releasing only on their Sony systems,
right? But
they're expanding it to be available for other networks. So it'll be available on Android, and it'll be I think available through iOS and stuff as well. And I don't think you'd have to have a PlayStation 3, a PlayStation 4, or whatever to run it. You'd just have to have a PlayStation Now subscription.
Okay.
So whether it is a push that will, get people to buy a PlayStation 4, or whether it would just give people access to a PlayStation back catalogue of things which they may not have got around to playing.
Right. So the other question I would have is the library. Is it going to be a complete library? Because any excuse for me to play the greatest fighting game on PS2, I would welcome.
Now, this is something which I was talking with some people who work for a few companies, including someone from Square Enix, who we were discussing whether or not games could just freely be put on, if they were available once on the PlayStation, whether they can just be freely put on. But I think you'd have to kind of go through whether or not licenses have expired. So there'll be certain games which can't go on because, say for example, the recent Activision and Capcom cull of Marvel games. You probably won't feature any of those because the licenses have expired. You will probably have a lot of other titles because brand licenses or film licenses, etc., have expired. They may not be able to put those games onto the system. There's also things. Sony recently filed a patent to allow developers to expand on content and actually introduce achievements and things onto PlayStation 1 games and stuff.
Oh wow.
The thing is, as some people have mentioned to me, it's not that easy to do, and it's very expensive.
Right.
Especially when you got a big game or a complex game. So whether or not developers will actually implement these features, or publishers will actually spend money to have development on expanding these features, and whether or not it's a requirement for them to be included in the library, is something to be addressed before. We've still got time to see exactly what's going to be on offer, but I'm not sure what the library is going to be like. I would like a huge library. I'd like to have access to games which may have been released over in the States, which we have not had over here. And I'm sure you'd like the same things. Things that were released over here or released in Japan that you didn't have access to before.
Right. The only thing I'm not looking forward to are the "I told you so" pieces when it's finally out of beta and it's a clunky mess, because anything that scale is going to be clunky when it finally releases. And you're gonna have all these articles. See, this is why the PlayStation 4 fails. PlayStation Now is a failure. I'm like, it's week 1 of a massive online streaming system. Maybe you should wait. We can't wait for anything anymore. We're so quick to call things failures when these massively scaled systems don't work initially.
This is what I was saying earlier before the podcast about the fact that we were talking about sales figures for the PlayStation 4 and Xbox One, and the fact that social media provides a tool to communicate and shove these things into people's faces all the time. And obviously inspires people to buy, people to try, and obviously it gets people talking about things. So usually the first thing that comes up is anything that's bad. If there's any little niggles in something, it becomes a big issue. And with this, I'm sure if there's teething problems, you're going to get exactly what you've just talked about.
Yeah, we had it when Grand Theft Auto Online first came out, and it was a bloody mess because Rockstar had no idea that many people would be taxing their servers. But they addressed the problem, upgraded their infrastructure, which takes a lot of work, and it's smooth now. Now they're worrying about people actually hacking the game itself to exploit, giving themselves infinite money, infinite RP, and they're addressing that too. We also had this. What happened with Xbox when it was first released? I'm trying to remember, because something happened and people were upset. It escapes me at the moment. I want to say one of their online features. I'd have to look it up. But it was something that was easily corrected, and they corrected it, and now everything's fine. It's almost like people are so quick to call something a failure, and then when the other person gets it right, they don't want to admit that they were wrong about it. So they just continue to say, no, it failed.
They'll just hang on to that memory.
Right. A console that sells 3 million isn't a failure. I don't care how you slice it or spin it. It sold 3 million units. It's not a failure.
No.
Because it's not easy to sell 3 million units of any damn thing.
and from pretty much everyone I know that have bought or gained access to one of the new consoles, they've been really impressed with the features that are available on it. Even though some things aren't quite there, they've not released everything that everyone was hoping for, because there's still some things to come. Some of the services and stuff, but from the feedback I'm getting, a lot of people are liking what they've got. So I think that the general thing with the new consoles is, they're winners, I think.
Right. And my main reason for not getting a PS4 now is I don't need it right now. It's not to say it's a
Watch
terrible
Dogs.
system.
That was my reason. Watch Dogs.
Yeah, once Watch Dogs got pushed back, that kind of affected my decision too. I'm not gonna lie. I think the day I decided I wasn't going to get it was the day they said Watch Dogs is pushed back. I was like, I can wait on this then.
Same here.
Because oh man, if Watch Dogs looks amazing. Just what it was at E3 I think where they did the gameplay demo where he just shuts the power in the city down.
Mm-hmm.
And then he just Arkham City'd everyone around him. I was like, yep, just let me know when you want the money, and we can make that happen. So yeah, I'm definitely looking forward to that. Somewhat off topic, Telltale is really, and I only say that because it just popped up on I have my Feedly on my tablet sitting next to me, and it just popped up. Telltale said they'd be open to doing sort of a new James Bond, sort of getting away from the action based.
Read about that the other day. Yeah.
Yeah, sort of bring it back to the novel roots, and I was like, I can dig it, because the way they knocked The Walking Dead out of the park, Telltale sort of got this license to sort of go after different franchises. They've got Game of Thrones coming out. They're
Borderlands thing.
They're tackling Borderlands. They've got The Wolf Among Us, season 2 of The Walking Dead, which I wish I could do spoilers in these reviews, because
No.
that first episode of season 2, oh my god.
Justin, I will say no. I have not touched season 2 at all.
And
You know, I was in love with season 1.
yes.
I'm waiting for every episode to come out, and then I'm going to play them like I did season 1.
Oh, okay. This was more intense. Like, the episode 1 was more intense than the show itself. I'm damn near about to say it was more intense than the comic. No, I won't go that far, because what happened recently, there's no getting past that. But it's so intense, and the way they do so much with so little, like the controls are simple. There's nothing really complex about how to play the game, but the way they take those simple controls and completely immerse you in this world and in this character, it's amazing. Like, you almost forget for a second that you're playing a game.
You're playing a story.
It'll get to the point where you feel like you are the story.
Yeah.
And that's just, I cannot say enough about just how brilliant that is, to be able to do that much with quote unquote so little. Because you look at The Last of Us is a great story, but it's also wrapped around some pretty good gameplay. Well, no, I shouldn't say pretty good. Some amazing gameplay. My only knock on The Last of Us is the very end, because I think Joel does something extremely selfish and petty that undermines everything that he's been trying to teach throughout the whole game. But that's for another day. That is really my only knock on The Last of Us. It's great until the end. And once the end happens, I'm just like, what?
I mean, the whole story thing, and I mean, that was all brilliant. I just had a few issues with the exploration, a couple of issues with the exploration. The fact that there was a lot of nothing zones, as I would call them.
Yeah, sort of like just dead zones of just space.
But it's not like you're just walking a few meters or whatever, and that's it. You walk for quite a while, and there's just nothing. There's not a collectible, there's not an Easter egg, there's just nothing. It's just...
And I sort of get the design choice with that. They want to sort of give you the feeling of vast nothingness, and you're just trying to get to the next place.
Kind of, but
after the first one, where you realize that nothing's really going to happen here, and it's just, okay, just walking, I'm not going to get attacked, not going to get ambushed.
Yeah.
Nothing.
Because, I mean, in a sense, I mean, the story is quite linear.
Yes.
It
almost plays like Uncharted in the terms of how the story just progresses.
Yeah.
Boom, boom, boom.
Yeah. So to have these kind of like vastly open spaces, which don't hold anything. Apart from the deer hunt, that's something else because that was a good touch. That open space, because you were kind of using that. But there was just a lot of places. I mean, the college part, that was probably the worst part of open space for me.
Oh, you are not the first person I've heard say that.
Yeah, the college, because there was just way too much space in that college. It's just zero, zero things.
So,
It's only when you get into the tight spaces that something happens.
right, and you can the game almost prepares you for, hey, something's about to happen. Like that camera will start to zoom in on Joel.
Yeah.
They gave you the Shepherd cam, as I call it. Well, no, because anytime like Shepard's about to do something, you're about to do a cutscene with Shepard in Mass Effect 3, the camera sort of locks into this one area. It's like, okay, cutscene time.
Yep. Yeah.
So. And I have no idea why I'm doing this. I'm trying to go through 3 on Insanity with a character
I
maxed
just
out.
finished it on Insanity.
Yeah, my character isn't maxed out though. I just took my import straight from 2 to 3 on Insanity. I'm like, we'll see what happens.
I started fresh.
Oh, God have mercy on your soul.
It was easy. I found it easy.
Oh, well, look at you. I know that last battle on London is going to have me wanting to punch a baby.
There was a really frustrating part right at the end.
Yeah.
Which
I know exactly what you're talking about. The 2 brutes and the 2 banshees.
No, that's easy. That's fine.
Ball locks.
That was fine. See, my benefit was I was playing as Sentinel, and biotic powers in that game are so destructive.
Oh yeah.
With a brute, with how I had my power set up. So basically, I would use hardly any increase, like speeded up recharge times. I would use everything to kind of increase radius and force damage on biotic explosions and things. And on a brute, I would throw a warp. I'd use an overload. Then I'd throw in a throw, which I'd have a double beam throw, and that would take it down to half health. One more of that, down. So
maybe I shouldn't have been a soldier then.
I would say that on Insanity, soldier for me, I would probably find soldier to be insanely hard on Insanity mode, which kind of.
Because I'm sitting there, I'm emptying clips into these things, and they're just like, yeah, that was cute.
I guess you just have to be really smart with your weapons and stuff. But yeah, I mean,
Gotta pick your shot.
I didn't pick soldier. I went biotic. I've been practicing biotic on multiplayer, and so I went in biotic, and I found it pretty easy.
No, fair enough. I guess as we get close to wrap up time, I could hear Lawrence wincing when I said the greatest fighting game on PS2, because I know he disagrees with me on this. All right, so hold on. We can tease this for the next show. But what do you think the best fighting game on PS2 is? I'm just curious.
On just PS2.
Just PS2.
Ooh, let's see. The ones that leap to mind on just PS2 would be for 2D. For 2D, it would have to be Capcom vs SNK 2, and for 3D, it would have to be a tie between Virtua Fighter 4 Evolution and Tekken 5.
I will concede your Capcom vs SNK. I'd completely forgotten about that one. I will concede on that one. The other two, nope. Not gonna do it.
What?
Can't do. Alright, I'll put it this way. on N64,
Uh-huh.
you enjoyed WCW and NWO Revenge, right?
Oh, yeah. And the WWF WrestleMania 2000 and WWF No Mercy.
So how can you not?
To
Because
put
it's
it...
the spiritual successor to.
See, I had a feeling you were going to be. I had a feeling it was going to be a wrestling title that you were on about.
Yeah, that's actually why I'm kind of surprised that you wouldn't pick that, because that is clearly one of the better wrestling titles on the PS2.
See, even with wrestling titles, I wouldn't pick that game as... I wouldn't.
We're gonna have words.
For me, no joke, wrestling titles, it would have to be on just PS2. WWE SmackDown Here Comes the Pain and SmackDown vs. Raw 2006.
SmackDown vs. Raw was good. It was very good. Not better than that.
I'm trying to think which one was the last one that I actually bought. I think it was SmackDown Bring the Pain. I think that was. That's the one with the Rock on it, right?
On the front?
Yeah.
Rock? No, that was just Bring It. Rock was on the front of Just Bring It.
Okay.
Rock was on the front of the PS1 game, excuse me, and the first PS2 game, Just Bring It.
What about? Was Stone Cold Steve Austin on one of the covers?
Oh, one of the older ones.
Was he? No,
Okay.
no. Austin was actually not on.
I think he was on the back. I think it was just The Rock that was on the front, actually.
Yeah,
and I think that was the last title that I bought for a wrestling game.
Austin was on the special edition cover for WWE 13 2 years ago. Excuse me, was it 2 years ago now? Yeah, it's 2 years ago now. Late 2012. He was on the special edition cover for that. But no, I don't think Austin was ever on the cover of a SmackDown game.
I mean, it was a long time ago. It was a long time ago. So I'm likely trying to remember something which probably never happened.
Yeah,
I do remember one with The Rock on the front cover.
Yeah, Rock was on the cover of SmackDown 1 and 2 on PS1, and he was on the cover of Just Bring It. Triple H was like the centerpiece of, I think it was Shut Your Mouth? Yeah. And Brock Lesnar was the cover of Here Comes the Pain.
Right.
But yeah, I honestly, Here Comes the Pain and SVR 2006 I would hold as my favorite wrestling games on the PS2.
So next show we have to have an episode completely dedicated to fighting games and wrestling, right?
Oh boy.
No, it's only fitting. We're getting the WWE Network on consoles now.
Oh, you heard about that then?
Yes, I did.
Okay.
So we can talk more about that and go into a few more of our favorite wrestling titles. I'm about to just steal my brother's PS3 because he still has an old style one. So I can do some recordings of Def Jam. Because as cheesy as the story, it's incredibly cheesy, like the story and the acting in it. But the gameplay
I remember Def Jam.
Yeah, but the gameplay is so polished.
See, I think this goes back to how Raiden pegged what our favorite Grand Theft Auto games were. That's all I'm gonna say about that.
And on that note, no, we haven't touched on the biggest news of the past couple weeks.
No, we have not.
The world premiere of Space Dandy.
Ah, yes.
Which, all right,
was awesome.
If you haven't guessed by now, this is sort of the explicit episode, and that's why we've sort of been more liberal with our language this time. Because there's no way to actually discuss Space Dandy without being a little vulgar.
I think I dropped the F-bomb earlier.
Yes, you did, Raiden. That's why I was laughing one time, because you dropped the F-bomb, Justin let a few words fly, and even Michelle let a few words fly.
Oh yeah, because we're talking about...
So Lawrence, I would like you to explain Space Dandy.
It's...
in detail.
It's about a guy who's in space.
A dandy.
That is
dandy.
A dandy guy in space. That is literally what the narrator says. literally the narrator just comes out to it's a dandy guy in space.
Space Dandy, a tale of space.
And what's
a
his
dandy
mission?
Guy in space.
His mission is he's an alien hunter. That's pretty much what it boils down to.
He's also got another mission to have photographs taken in certain places.
I thought that was the Space Cat's goal there.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was the
Oh,
Space
okay.
Cat.
So
He is so totally a cat, by the way.
for those of you that don't know, Space Dandy is the newest project from Shinichiro Watanabe, who brought us Samurai Champloo, Michiko to Hatchin, Cowboy Bebop. And this is a less serious, a more lighthearted project. It definitely has some action elements, but at its heart, it's a comedy. It is an affectionate parody of the Flash Gordon's Star Trek Original Generations of our time.
It's absolutely bonkers. It's very colourful.
Yes.
Yes.
And
Very
In both language, topic, and colour.
an actual animation. Very vibrant, very, I guess you could say,
Andy?
80s neon looking with some of the environments.
Kind of, yeah.
Yeah. Kind of
It's got an
almost
awesome soundtrack too.
Yeah, the soundtrack's amazing for Space Dandy so far. The humor for Space Dandy too is very off the walls with it.
yeah, it's a lot of not non sequitur. It's a lot of fourth wall breaking. It's a lot of, I don't want to say puns because they're more set up than a pun would be, but it's
Self-referential.
yes.
It's very self-referential with Space Dandy.
The opening after the narrator gives his brilliant introduction to the show, we're greeted by Dandy saying, the worst type of people are the kinds that would objectify a woman for her boobs, because that's just wrong. And then his robot psychic says, oh, well, okay, yeah, because, you got to focus on the ass. That's where all the action really is. That's where the good stuff is. I'm just like, yep, it's going to be that kind of show.
Immediately at that point, I was like, oh, this is going to be a very fun ride.
Well, when I saw the teaser material at Otakon, the one thing that sort of Mr. Watanabe lit up at was when he explained what boobies was.
Yeah.
When he explained Space Hooters, his face just lit up like, oh yeah, this is where the comedy is. I'm like, it's gonna be that kind of show, isn't it?
Even the shape of the place
Yes.
when they zoom out from it.
So we've got that going on. Dandy as a character, he's just who was it? One of you guys said it, or was it someone I follow on Twitter that said he's essentially Spike from Cowboy Bebop with Johnny Bravo's personality and hair.
He's got a kind of Elvis look to him, doesn't he?
Yeah, he's got the pop
With his outfit and his hair.
He kind of reminds me of all the stereotypical space heroes.
Yeah,
and like all the cliches.
I think that's kind of what he's based on. Yeah.
Yeah,
he's kind of based on all the cliches put together. Like even his mannerisms are like this action hero type of mannerism that you look at and go, really? You just did that? Like one time he's shooting at an alien, he's missing all his shots. And you see him twirl the gun, twirl it behind his back, and then toss it. And I'm following it, I'm like, why did he just toss the gun? And I'm in my head, I'm like, oh, I get the joke.
He's trying to be, he's trying to be a badass, just like he's trying
to be this awesome, super cool hero, and I'm just looking at like, why did he just toss the gun? Okay.
And then he misses the catch, right?
Yeah.
I'm trying to remember. Yeah, he's doing all that, and then he tries to catch it in the holster,
and then he misses the and then he just plays it off. He like that was intended. Like he completely plays off that he misses the gun.
Right. It's a wild ride. It's a funny ride. I can tell they're gonna try to introduce some sort of overarching villain. I don't even know how they're going to play into the story because this villain that looks like a pimped out Gorilla Grodd, whose flagship is the Statue of Liberty with a ball gag.
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's very, like you said, it's very weird, but it's still funny. It doesn't go straight for the toilet humor. It's legitimately funny.
Right, it kind of dances around that, and it just goes straight for, joke after joke, or sight gag after sight gag, and also visual humor
Right.
in general.
And just talking about the visuals, the chase scene at the end, that just looked brilliant.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was fantastically animated. It's been a while since an anime's animation kind of just blew me away in that regard. Like, I should clarify, because I saw Summer Wars when they aired it on Toonami in December, and that blew me away, because that was like, the way they handled the computer world and the animation for the fight scenes inside the computer world. But before this recent batch of Toonami showings of Summer Wars and now with Space Dandy, it's been a while since animation like legitimately blew me away. And seeing that final chase sequence, how fluid the animation was and how vibrant it was, how they kept the perception of speed up to snuff with how fast they were moving along with the aliens, and then the actual electricity effect as they get shocked within the water, the water monster. That whole sequence was very beautiful.
Yeah, and we all know Watanabe projects have amazing soundtracks. One thing that I don't think gets enough credit is how well the soundtracks fit the mode and the mood of the scene.
In every single scene, yeah.
Every single scene, like, it's not just like, oh, this is a great song. It's, oh, this song really complements the scene. And I think that's...
Or even just what someone's saying. It's just...
Right.
It's just, yeah. It's fantastic.
That's one thing Cowboy Bebop and Samurai Champloo did very well. The music really fit the scenes. They complemented each other very well.
Mm-hmm.
And for Michiko Hatchin, he does an excellent job of capturing period music for the time. It basically takes place in current day, not Brazil. And he captures the popular music of the time, puts his own spin on it, and gives you this sound, and it sounds natural to the environment. It's just, I am I am blown away.
Yeah, the way the music captures the environment and the atmosphere of everything. Like, even if it's a song that you wouldn't normally hear in that type of anime, like for Cowboy Bebop, for instance, it normally has this jazzy, maybe somewhat popish tune to it, and then all of a sudden, toward the final few episodes, the music hits a more melancholy tone. When you see obviously Spike going out the window, and then the music that plays as he's descending, it doesn't fit the general tone of the anime, but because it fits that moment, it's perfect.
Right.
You don't expect it from that sort of anime, but because it fit the moment so well, it's like, hey, this is perfect. Why not use it?
Right. I have to say though, seeing Summer Wars before I saw Wolf Children, I thought Wolf Children was going to be way more bittersweet than it was. So I was like bracing myself for like extreme heartbreak. So.
Can I just say that Summer Wars did an excellent job of managing to conjure up feelings for the characters, especially?
Yes, especially characters that in any other circumstance you would see as unsympathetic.
Yeah, to a degree, yeah.
Well, no, because the protagonist of Summer Wars, if it wasn't that movie, you take that character and put them in... I'm trying to think, what would another appropriate setting be? You put them in another setting, I don't know if you root for them the same way.
Yeah, I get you. And also, it was one of those anime where I caught myself going, like, there was that one sequence where they're building the supercomputer to help get access to the internet world again, and to give them faster connection speed and all that, to prevent what's going to happen from happening, without getting into too many details, too many spoilers. And as they're doing this, they have these huge chunks of ice to prevent the computer from overheating. And in the middle of the battle, the computer overheats. And when they figure out that it overheated, they're like, but wait, how did that happen? and then you see one character moving all the blocks of ice to a character who had passed away during the course of the movie, and it was the moment where that person just gets punched in the face. I just looked and I was like, "Thank you." And I literally just sat at the edge of my seat and I was like, "Thank you, he had that coming."
Yes.
And I'm sitting here watching. I'm like, this anime is conjuring up a ton of feelings for these characters, and I enjoyed the whole month of movies, obviously, for Toonami, because I sat through all of them for the most part. I will admit that I caught FMA Conqueror of Shambhala, I caught Akira, I caught Summer Wars, all from beginning to end, but Trigun, Badlands, Rumble, I was in and out of, because I was doing other things, taking care of other things here and there. But between the whole month of movies, I think Summer Wars was the highlight.
It's such a gem. Really, anything that Mamoru Hosoda does, it's worth watching. I am still seeing the praises of Wolf Children because it was that good.
I have not seen Wolf Children.
Me neither. It's one that's on my list to watch, and I know you really enjoyed it, Justin.
That was the highlight of my Otakon experience. That movie. It's just beautiful, and it will evoke those feelings from you.
Okay, you say this, but I have one question here.
All right.
Wolf Children was the highlight of your Otakon experience, but did you see the Rurouni Kenshin live-action movie?
Yes, I did. I enjoyed that for a completely different set of reasons.
Okay. Because I was about to ask, you would put the Wolf Children movie above that.
Yes, not saying that Rurouni Kenshin was bad, because that was that showed you that live action, that you can adapt anime to live action.
Yeah, I mean, I think
it's just something that most people tend to do badly.
Yes.
Yeah,
and
I think
like even it wasn't just a good adaptation; it was a good movie. It was very enjoyable. I put Wolf Children above it though, only because the feelings I got from Wolf Children were deeper than what I got from Kenshin. Kenshin was more of a nostalgia-based, the show I grew up watching is a movie, this is a really damn good movie. Like, if I'm going to say which one is better, they're both pretty good. They're both 4.5 stars. So, I wouldn't say one is better than the other, I just enjoyed one for a different reason. I enjoyed one more for different reasons than I enjoyed the other.
Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah, but no, that Kenshin live action movie was amazing. It actually, when we're done recording, I'm gonna see if I can actually order the subtitled movie yet.
I'm curious if they're gonna do with the Kenshin movie, if they're gonna do the dubbed version in the style that Viz handled the dub of the Death Note movies. Where, like, instead of getting just a bunch of English dub movie actors,
they get the
actual anime cast. I'm wondering if they would do that for the Kenshin movie.
Oh, but it's been 10 years. Yeah, it's been about 10 years.
Well, yeah, but some of them came back for the which movie was it? The new Kyoto Arc movie.
This is true.
Which I've heard gotten mixed reviews, because they kind of condensed a 22 episode arc into 90 minutes. So,
well, the Kenshin live action movie, they essentially take everything before Kyoto and condense it into one movie with some distillation, and it works.
Yeah, that I could see. It's just in an anime, I mean, in regards to, I should have clarified this, but the complaints I've seen with the new Kyoto Arc movie that came out a while ago was they took the Kyoto arc, everything from Kenshin versus Saito all the way to Shishio, and condensed it into a 90-minute anime through the perspective of Misao. And yeah, people were like, "Oh, new Kenshin content. What is this?" when they came out.
More Misao content. Oh, okay. I guess.
Yeah,
Cool.
that's the perspective and the feedback I kind of got.
Oh yeah,
from it.
yeah. No, I completely get that. So. What? So the team that did the live action Kenshin wants to do. They want to adapt the Kyoto arc next.
Oh, they confirmed that they already got the next 2 movies.
Oh, nice. Oh yeah, yeah. They have Yep, they have confirmed it.
Yeah, it's Rurouni Kenshin: The Fire of Kyoto and Rurouni Kenshin: End of a Legend as the next 2 movies. And they even had a picture up of I think the Sojiro Seta actor that they have in costume. So they're already making the next 2 movies. Which to me is kind of weird for the last one, because I want to see if they're going to go the manga route.
They kind of can't because of who shows up in the first movie.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Okay.
I mean, no, I take it back. They probably can. Just switch some characters around. Because they sort of put characters where they're not supposed to be, but it works because they don't have any huge importance other than, hey, we're goons.
Yeah, well, the Death Note movies worked with it in a certain way. I mean, they took Light and L.
Yeah, they went a completely different direction though. They altered the story.
Oh, I get it. They didn't alter the story. What they did was just they moved people around.
Yeah, like
Okay.
some of the people in Enshi's group show up under Kanryu.
That's interesting.
Yeah, like for no other reason other than some of the Oniwaban, I guess. Enshi's group is more realistic to cast than some of the Oniwaban are.
Okay, that's rather interesting.
Yeah.
I can't say I mind, but
I mean, it worked. Like if you know the characters, you spot them and you say, "Oh, hey, you're from this arc." It works because you're here. They don't make that big of a fuss over it.
yeah, it's like, oh, yeah, okay, you're this guy.
Yep, I'm hired muscle. How's it going, guys?
I'm hired muscle under another guy.
Yeah. Well, I guess they could show up because they don't kill them, so I guess they could show up again.
Or they could take the Kanryu guys who were in the original and just swap places.
That works too. They have options.
Yeah, they can work around with that.
The only knock I would have on the Kenshin movie, and it's such a minor knock that I don't care about it. The pacing from the Kanryu fight to the Jine fight, it's very whiplashy. Because the movie sort of wraps up after they resolve the Kanryu incident, and then they jump right into Kenshin versus Jine. And like it's very whiplashy. But other than that,
Is it?
like I said, that like you said, yeah, that's it. That's it. Like the pacing gets thrown off for that like split second, and you're like, oh, okay, cool.
All right, yeah. I mean, I'm looking forward to finally seeing it. So.
Oh, it's great. I'm still trying to find because as I get older, I feel like I have more of a responsibility to support official releases when they come out. So I'm trying to find like an official Blu-ray release, and it looks better on my TV than my laptop. So I'm trying to find like an official Blu-ray release of the movie.
Right. I need to eventually see if I can find one like that. See if I can order from Amazon or something. I do want to do.
That's where I'm looking right now. It's definitely worth it though. I would say those two. If Otakon definitely has to keep that up because they got the Wolf Children dub premiere before anyone else got it. They got the Kenshin sub before anyone else got it. They got Space Dandy teaser material before anyone else got it. So I want to see what they're gonna try to do this year, especially since we're coming up on the end of Otakon being in Baltimore. So.
Okay.
Yeah, they're moving it to DC because it's too popular now.
I had heard about that.
Oh.
I wasn't sure how true that was.
Based on this year, yes, because space is definitely starting to become an issue,
Ah, okay.
and it's a good problem to have, but it's still a problem because the day one you had people outside waiting hours to get in if they didn't pick up
sounds like the MCM Expo we had over here.
Yeah.
Just in October. I know people who were waiting 3.5 hours just to get in.
Right. And part of it's because they had a rough estimate of, everyone that had pre-registered, but you had a lot of people trying to do same day registry, and that just skewed. They had a line that wrapped around the convention center, and the convention center is about 4 blocks surface area. So yeah, I think next year they're going to be a little more prepared for it, but the Baltimore Convention Center cannot handle that many people. It just can't. And I know the city of Baltimore is upset because everyone comes to Otakon. That's a lot of commerce for that area, the Inner Harbor area.
Yep.
Right. And now they're going to lose out on all that.
Oh, yeah. Because on Inner Harbor, you have the convention center, then you have this sort of strip mall, not a strip mall, more like a mini mall. Then you have the power plant, nightlife. You've got the tourist stuff, you've got the aquarium, all sort of right there.
Right.
And one of my favorite things to do, the sushi place right next to the convention center, which is packed every Otakon.
I was going to say, of all places, it's usually the food places that tend to do extremely well.
Oh yeah.
Because usually going into the food places around the outside of these conventions is a lot cheaper than trying to eat in. It is over here anyway. And usually better quality.
Yeah. So, but yeah, they're moving it into the city proper. I don't know how that's going to work. I've seen where they want to hold it. The facility could probably hold all those people. I'd be more worried about the city itself if DC is ready for that level of traffic. So it should be fun though. I'm still gonna go. As long as I'm up there, I'm still gonna go.
Yeah, I don't think there'd be a reason to miss it. Just move a few miles.
We got to get you down here for one of these. You're only 2 states away. There's no excuse.
Yeah.
That. Put him on the spot. Now we'll work it out. We'll work it out. We got to get you, and we got to get Aaron and Danielle into Otakon. That's the movement. We bring everyone to Otakon.
Everyone assemble.
Oh man. Yeah, this has been fun. A little longer than usual, but whatever. You guys love us.
It was awesome to be back.
Yes, definitely good to be back. Looking forward to the new content from Raiden. Looking forward to the new content that Lawrence has announced. I should get off my arse and start doing more reviews more regularly. I think I'll start revisiting some of my old titles and doing proper reviews on them. Maybe go in more depth. Yeah, got a ton of content from everybody. This is what.
One thing we haven't discussed is what we were doing during the time off.
Oh yeah, I finally got Pokemon X.
Yay!
And I have to say, it is the most user-friendly Pokemon. Yeah, it's just very user-friendly and accessible. Way more forgiving than the older generation.
It's adapted to it's adapted to the modern gamer, right?
It's adapted to the modern gamer, and there's also a lot of anti-hacking subtleties in the game itself that I can appreciate. So they've sort of made breeding easier to discourage people from hacking the game, and that I can appreciate.
Yeah, and as well as the super training that they added.
Right.
To go into what were the effort values and the individual values.
Right. And so they've sort of made it so if you so choose, you can build these perfect mons without having to use an action replay or a game shark. Sort of balance gameplay in tournaments. So, and then just the game proper itself, it's a lot more forgiving because even just not even power leveling, by the time I got to the first gym, I was already 10 levels ahead of the gym leader. I was like, oh, well then.
Yeah, I was about 5 levels ahead of the gym leader, but I had the mystery gift Torchic. So at that point, it was just
Oh yeah, that's just
burn everything.
that's the I win button.
Yeah, pretty much. Especially on the first gym.
Yeah.
It's the I win button.
Although I can't help but feel bad. Your rival in the game, your blue. I don't know if you guys remember Red and Blue, how your rival Blue was always one step ahead of you. You are
Yeah.
now that person. You're always one step ahead of your rival. And so I'm worried that this is gonna like mess with her to the point where she's like, Evan, I can't do anything better than you. I'm evil now, just so I can take you out. So, because
Somehow this wouldn't surprise me.
yeah, because there's one moment in the game where she says, wow, we make a really good team, but I can't keep depending on you. I'm growing weaker myself. I have to get out of your shadow. And I was like, I've seen enough show anime to know where this is going.
Suddenly, a level 80 Rhyperior.
Oh man, but no, yeah, I'm enjoying Pokemon X. I got my Charizard. And that's all I care about in life. And then I finally saw Pokemon Origins. I saw the dub, the whole movie of Pokemon Origins, the dub, and it was really well done. I liked it a lot. A lot of nice.
I've yet to see it from beginning to end.
It is worth it. I didn't watch the 4 episodes; just saw the whole thing as an OVA. It's really good. A lot of nice callbacks to the game itself, and proof once and for all that Red is better than Ash at everything.
150 Pokemon to Ash's 10 in Gen 1.
Exactly.
I mean, off the top, 30 Tauros don't count as 30 Pokemon.
This is true. They only count as one.
Exactly.
Ash is so trash, man. No, I have to clarify. Ash in the anime is trash. Because there's a Pokemon manga, not Pokemon Special, but there's like a Pokemon manga that features Ash and Gary, where Ash is sort of a badass. But anime Ash, oh, he's so garbage. He's so garbage.
Yeah, I haven't seen the manga, I haven't read the manga, so I can't really say much.
Oh, it's only like 6 or 7 chapters.
Oh, yeah.
It's pretty short, if I remember correctly. But no, it's pretty good. And then Pokemon Special is I can't even bother at this point. I read all of Red and Blue Special. Now they're all the way up to Heart Gold, Soul Silver, X and Y. I'm like, nope, that's an archive binge I'm not ready for. Maybe one day. But yeah, so that's been sort of my break. And then I started reading Saga, which is, yes, you and Danielle were right. Oh my god, I don't know how I missed this one.
It is amazing, right?
Yes. So I have to catch up to the story now.
It's a good thing. I mean, where it's still reasonably new. It's not too many books to read into, and I think they've got like 2 chunks of them in graphic novels.
Right. So I've gotten through the first half of the first one.
Some really interesting characters.
Oh man, Saga is so good. And then I was just making the rounds on my on the blogs I read, and everyone had Saga as like, hey, comics you need to read in 2014. Read Saga. They were also said you have to read Superior Spider-Man, which on principle I can't co-sign that. I can't. Oh God, I can't. Oh. Although the latest issue of Superior Spider-Man, the Venom symbiote rejects him. Like, he tries to fuse with Venom.
What?
Yeah, he tries to fuse with Venom, and Venom says, "You are so reprehensible, we cannot bond with you."
Wow. That actually surprises me.
Well, you know the deal with Superior Spider-Man, right?
Oh yeah, yeah,
Okay.
yeah. I know that debacle.
Mild spoilers for anyone that doesn't know the news. Peter Parker is dead, and Dr. Otto Octavius now has Peter Parker's body. And now Otto Octavius is a superior Spider-Man. And he tries to bond with Venom, and Venom rejects him. Because he's that reprehensible.
Wow. I'm kind of flabbergasted by that, actually.
Like, the panel is the symbiote's trying to crawl back to Flash Thompson. Like, please take me back.
Oh my god. Oh, Spider-Man, I knew ye well. I mean, that's a nice twist and all, but the Superior Spider-Man story just.
It's a nice twist, but I cannot wrap my head. Maybe the problem is with me. No, actually, the problem is with me. I'll admit, the problem is with me. I can't wrap my head around Otto Octavius being Spider-Man. I cannot. And it's my fault that I can't. It is 100% my fault, but I can't get past that.
Yeah, I know what you mean. I'm in that same boat, honestly. I just can't get my head wrapped around the whole idea of that switch.
Right. Like, it's not like when Norman Osborn took control of S.H.I.E.L.D., because it wasn't like he was pretending to be good. He was still batshit insane Norman Osborn. So.
Yeah.
I think I was one of the few people that actually liked Dark Reign. Well, I liked the one-offs of Dark Reign. The whole "I'm declaring war on Asgard" thing kind of went overboard.
I can't say anything about that, honestly. I haven't followed that.
Short version: Norman Osborn gets control of S.H.I.E.L.D., puts a bunch of psychopaths as the new Avengers. So you've got Daken as the new Wolverine, Moonstone as the new Miss Marvel, Bullseye as the new Hawkeye. It goes about as well as you think. Oh, and Venom is the new Spider-Man.
Well, that one and Bullseye being Hawkeye couldn't have been more obvious.
Yeah. So it goes about as well as you expect when you put a bunch of psychopaths in charge of S.H.I.E.L.D.
Yeah.
But yeah, I enjoyed it. Except for the whole, declaring war on gods thing.
Yeah, that's a little much.
Well, he didn't even have a plan. He was just like, yeah, we're just going to go in there. It might work. Who knows? So. But, man, I still enjoyed it. So, yeah, we've got a lot of stuff coming for you guys this year. We are glad to ring it another year with you guys. We hope that you continue to support, listen, follow us on Facebook, Twitter, Tumblr, YouTube, Twitch, now that we're starting the live streams up.
I was about to say, we're just going to wrap up, or Michelle, Ryden have anything to chime in on what they were doing?
Well, for me, I did stay pretty silent during the Christmas period. I did spend a lot of the time kind of with family, watching some films and stuff like that. The only thing I really did do was, as said earlier, was jump back into Mass Effect. Just Mass Effect 3 though. I'm not going to go too in deep, but I had issues going back into Mass Effect 3. It didn't feel right.
Yeah. I know what you mean. The whole starting fresh. It's not your Shepard.
It's not my story. It's not my Shepard. I'm still making a lot of the same choices, even though I'm trying to make different ones. That's just my conscience. I can't help that. But yeah, it's not my story. It's not my Shepard. However, the bonus is it's given me the opportunity to play the DLC.
Yeah.
And that's always a plus.
Because the problem with Mass Effect DLC is it's story DLC included before the ending.
So once you beat the game...
So once you've beaten the game, you don't want to go back. That wasn't in your story, so you're not going to go back and suddenly include it.
You also can't go back.
No, you can. When you load your...
Oh yeah, because it'll load your post game right before the final battle. That's right.
Yeah, right before you go to the elusive man ship or whatever it is.
Yeah.
So you kind of you can go back, but it's for me, my story was finished. I'm not going back. So I started afresh. I started this time as a biotic character. I did Insanity. But then it gave me the opportunity to play all the DLC, which was fantastic. And for what the DLC is, I would probably rate Omega as probably my favorite of them.
Really? Over Citadel?
Yeah. Citadel's brilliant. It's just packed of. I mean, maybe because it's not my Shepard, it's not my story. They're not my links with the characters. I mean, Citadel's hilarious, and there's so much to do. But for something that's for story-driven stuff, I'd probably say Omega was one of my favorites. Was probably my favorite DLC piece. It was nice to go back to this. Go back to Omega.
And
especially when you get into Afterlife.
Oh, getting back into Afterlife.
Yeah.
Michelle. What was that?
I said it's just because it's so familiar. But yeah, that's pretty much all I did.
All right. So Michelle, what have you been up to during the break?
Just really sort of Persona, really.
I do not blame you. Oh man.
That is pretty much a whole Christmas break on Persona, right?
Yeah, because the game is
pretty
so
much
expansive. Like, there's a lot
Yeah.
to do. It is a linear story, but
Yeah, because I think it's like I got it when they had it on the PSN for sale.
oh,
Like they had it down to like £14.
Yeah, it was ridiculous.
Yeah, I think that was like Christmas Eve or something, and I think I completed it about New Year's Eve, possibly. Yeah, that sounds about right.
yeah.
Yeah, Persona 4 could probably eat up all that time.
Definitely worth it.
Yeah. I haven't... See, I'm still guilty of not having played Persona 4.
Then why did you let me spoil it?
I didn't... Because I'm not gonna, cut in the middle of it and go like, no, don't spoil it, because I already... Well, first off, I already saw parts of it
Oh, well.
as time went on anyway. And, I'm not gonna... cut in. This is this is a good conversation.
If Lawrence is anything like me, you can hear a spoiler and then completely forget about it. And it's only when that part comes up and you're like, I remember them talking about that.
For me, it depends on the game. Some games I could do that. Other games I can't. Like, for instance, back when Heavy Rain came out, the first, not when it came out, but back when the script got leaked, there was a huge problem with YouTube when it came to this, where even on unrelated videos, the identity of the origami killer was spoiled in the comments. Like in a video completely unrelated to even video gaming. Like I could be watching a music video, or I could be watching, something that bring it back, something that WWE put up on their YouTube channel. And
Never
on
read the comments.
Right. And that was what it kind of would teach you, because in the comment section, the origami killer would be spoiled. And I read there and I'm like, oh my god, they just spoiled the whole mystery, kind of spoiled it. And I know the guy that they implicated, and I'm like, because unfortunately, this person if you've even played, like even seen earlier bits of it, like you would know the name of the person, either in trailers or things like that. So I'm like, oh, I know who this is. Spoiled it for me. I'm going to try to forget about it when the game comes out, when we get the game, all that. So the game comes out, and I didn't forget. And I wait a few months, and I didn't forget. So I'm like, well, there goes that. That was me with Heavy Rain. For something like Persona 4, that game's going to be 100 hours on its own.
That plus you can make different choices, and
right.
Things can be different to what you've heard, I guess.
Yeah, and actually seeing it would be, different than just hearing it or reading it. In the case of Heavy Rain, that was the whole story, in a sense. You know, finding out who this person is and what your choices are going to mean in regards to that person. Unfortunately, the answer kind of ruined the whole game.
Mm-hmm.
You know, without saying it, you know, even though it's a 5-year-old game by now, it's still, I would say that's still a huge spoiler. But knowing who this person is ruined the whole game. Knowing that stuff about Persona 4 Golden, aside from the fact that it made good conversation, but knowing that stuff about Persona 4 Golden, I wasn't going to interrupt, because either way, if I play it later, I still have 100 hours to get to that point anyway.
Yeah, very valid.
And there's the whole journey to get to it.
Right.
So yeah, that's pretty much why I didn't, you know, say anything when you spoiled it. Like Walking Dead, I still haven't played either.
And I'm not
anything.
I'm not going to spoil that. That needs to be experienced in all of its glory.
Yeah, I still need to play Walking Dead. Because if I don't, then I have a feeling that you and Rydant and I believe Danielle are going to kill me at this rate. You'll send hitmen to my house.
We do know where you live. Well, you know, you'll be. We've all.
I know where you live. I know where you live.
Oh man.
Oh well, Michelle, spare me some of your benevolence. Help me.
You're on your own, partner.
Nope.
Michelle didn't even. I'm like, oh no.
Nope. I can see the side eye coming out. Just.
Nope.
But yeah.
I will join you, Michelle. I need protection.
Oh wow! Why does this sound familiar? Oh man, it always comes back to Dynasty Warriors.
Yes.
Although, what if Xiaoba had stayed? They actually wouldn't have killed him, right?
I don't think so.
Yeah.
If only because of his name. I think he would have been spared.
Yeah.
Because the Xiaoho name was pretty high up. Especially in that late era where the Sao name was diminishing.
Very true. Alright.
So, Michelle, that was pretty much your whole break. It was on Persona 4.
Yeah, pretty much.
Okay.
I approve of this message. But yeah, like I was saying before, it's been fun. You know, we have a lot of new content coming for you guys. And of course, we'll continue to bring you the show every other week, unless we say otherwise on Twitter. And yeah, it's been fun. We hope to see you guys again later.
Yep.
Take care, everybody.
Take care.